and welcome back to the Simplifiers podcast, where we take topics in business and in life and simplify them. And friends, here's what I'm going to be willing to bet. You have a schedule or to-do list that is sitting in front of you right now that has one, if not all of these things on them. Right. Okay, here we go. Put the dishwasher on before I leave the house. Order the groceries online. Oh my God, I can't even order the groceries online until I think about what my menu plan is. What's a menu plan? My kid doesn't eat that kind of food. Oh, geez, I forgot to pick up the dry cleaning. Oh my God, when am I ever going to put that pitch proposal together? Oh my God, the pitch proposal is tomorrow at 9 a.m. Does anyone out there resonate with that? Raise your hand right now. Girl, I feel you. And here is the thing. This is why I wanted to bring on our next guest to the podcast, because I feel like this, my friends, is a trap. And this feeling of being behind all the time is just a story we're telling. So let's simplify that. My special guest today is Amber McCue. She is a business operations expert. She studied organization development at Johns Hopkins MBA program, and she's also the founder of Amber McCue & Co., a modern business management and operations consultancy which operates globally. Amber is the creator of several noteworthy programs and courses for busy and first-time business owners, including her signature program, How to Clone Yourself, her long-term hands-on program, Freshly Implemented, and CEO School, a brand new way for smart business owners to stop letting their business run the show and start running the show for themselves instead. So I'd like to welcome to the Simplifiers podcast today, Amber McCue. Hey, Amber.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I'm so glad you're here. And girl, I feel like this is the story of the century right now that we are telling ourselves as business owners. What is the deal?
It never stops, does it? Right? Even when we hit that level, when we get to the end of the week, when that to-do list that's in front of you right now is gone, is done, everything's checked off, there's always something more.
Yep.
Or there's this nudge or this calling that we've got to do something bigger or to do something different, but we suppress it. It's not my time. It's already been done before. There's somebody else doing it,
Yep.
right? It is exactly your time. And whether it's something new you're exploring or if you're looking at that massive to-do list and thinking you're behind, we want you to know you are right on time.
Yes.
Because you cannot be late for your destiny.
Yeah. And so I've had quite a few productivity experts on the podcast over the last year or so. And you know where I'd like to tackle this conversation, because yes, we could all talk about ways to hack your life and cut life, time down and be more efficient. Yeah. But I think what we're talking here is something way deeper, right?
Way deeper, right? Because if you're listening to this, you do the hacks, right? You go to Simplify, you've got strategies and ideas and I'm going to reprioritize, right? I've got them out galore and I still use them.
Yeah.
But things will not change until we dig deep and at the same time elevate and step further into a leadership role in our lives, in our businesses, and totally shift our being, like how we show up, how we feel, how we breathe into that to-do list, and right, whether it's that panic or if it's like, oh, I got this. We're right on time.
Yeah.
And let's break it down.
Totally. I mean, it comes back down to mindset. I say it again, every single episode on this podcast, I talk about mindset, regardless of if it is productivity or getting better sleep or panic attacks. I mean, it all comes down to this beautiful brain inside us that tells those stories, that anchors us down into negative thought patterns, that keeps us holding back.
Right? And if you think about the last time, not the last time, the first time in your life that you felt behind, that you felt like it wasn't your turn, that you felt like you had too much to do, or that you were chasing someone or something, it started a long time ago, right?
Yep.
And look at our kids today. And I was thinking back to the first time that I experienced this feeling of behind. And I am going through, I believe it's Heathrow Airport in London. And I am going through the airport and my mom and my sister are behind me. and we're all chasing my stepfather. We're going to be late. We've got to catch this flight. And Kevin, right, now represents every goal, every dream, every to-do I've been chasing in my entire life. And we've all got a version of Kevin, right? Mm-hmm. We've all got a version of something that we started chasing a long time ago, and we never stopped.
And it's funny that you should say that. Like, where was the first time I felt behind? And you know what immediately my brain went to, Amber, is playing soccer as a little girl, 7 years old, and feeling, and I was a fluffy girl. Let's just be real. I had some hips on me, even at that age. And, I was playing my heart out, but I remember hearing my dad yelling from the sidelines, run faster, Mary. And, that is a thing. Here I am 41 years later, that still is a mantra in my head. If I only just ran faster, then I can do what I need to do. And is that true?
No. And we've all got these, right? There's the whole hustle harder, push, work hard, go, do. And I call it our be more, do more epidemic, as if this doing will solve our problems. But the definition of hustle is to be in a state of great activity, not a state of great productivity. So you're not getting it done. You are just moving, right? It's like you're running, great analogy, and you just keep running, and you feel like you're necessarily getting to your destination. Mm-hmm. But I would argue that if we stop, right, the running, and we stop what I call the rocking for a little while, because the rocking chair goes nowhere, but it's in motion. Yeah. And sometimes we've got to run, and sometimes we've got to kick it up a notch. But if you pause and reflect and look around, you have probably reached your destination over and over and over again. And yeah, we're going to have a new destination, and we're going to have a new place that we're going, and we're going to get there right on time, just like we always have. Mm-hmm. But what I want to propose is that you don't have to run, and you don't have to hustle, and you don't have to push yourself harder, but you're going to get exactly where you're supposed to go at a pace of flow and a state of productivity, right? That feels right. And this is what you hear people talk about this all the time, right? But I want to break down, like, what does it really mean? And it's stepping into that space of productivity and completely shifting how we show up every single day. And really, it also comes back to that belief in ourselves that we've got this. You've got this.
Mm-hmm. That's the truth. And, I think that in this day and age, we glorify busy. We glorify, look at how productive I am. I've done all these things. Whoa. Aren't I busy? Aren't I a proper business owner because I'm so busy, right? So what's the first step in ditching the overwhelm that comes from the glorification of busy? Like, how do we stop this negative pattern? What do you think?
Yeah, it starts with our thoughts, right? We shift how we're thinking. Put down busy as a badge of honor right now. I wore that badge of honor for a long time. Yeah. Total recovering workaholic. Corporate America fed my addiction to work. It fed my addiction to feedback, positive feedback, and external affirmation. But this is an inside job. This change, this movement you're creating, this business you're building, the family you are loving and serving and supporting through the work you're doing, right? The love that you're giving to your clients, that's not coming from outside. This is an inside job. So we've got to start internal and change our thoughts. So put down busy as a badge of honor. Like, commit to that, number one. Then start figuring out how you want to show up differently. And very practically speaking, I still work a to-do list, right? Mm-hmm. I still build a plan. You cannot let go of these things because you've got to show up. And I think that this was years ago. It feels like high school, but it wasn't quite that long ago that The Secret came out. And when The Secret came out, I remember so many people in my world being like, oh, well, you just have to think it and it's going to happen. Not quite, right? We've still got to show up. You've got to meet your dreams and your goals halfway. And I was on safari in Africa and in Kenya, actually, Masai Mara. Yeah. And the tour guide said, you know where you are, and you know where you're going. everything in between, right? We're going to have detours. We're going to see a cheetah. We're going to have a pride of lions in front of us. But we've got a vision, even if it's murky, even if we're a little lost and we've got some detours coming up, we're going to get there. You hold that vision and you show up. You still create plans and you follow the map that's going to get you to your destination, right? So you still show up, but what you shift is your attachment to that plan.
Right.
We surrender, and that it feels different. It sounds different when we surrender, and our results and how we get to our destination looks a lot different when we surrender.
And I can imagine there are a couple of listeners right now, because this is bubbling up in me, Amber, is that they are the best girls at following the GPS and going exactly the route that it says, right? No, husband, we do not deviate from this. This is the plan, right? And we, type A, card-carrying control freaks, struggle to really, truly detach from every single step of the plan. Why is it not going this way? And so we hold with this iron fist, it has to be this way. And it's really hard to surrender when you're holding with a ironclad fist, right?
It is. And it's going to take practice, right? I started living right on time with my clients. I was gifting this right on time methodology and way of living to my clients 4 or 5 years ago. And it dawned on me 3 years ago that, wait a second, I'm not gifting this to myself. I was still holding tight. I was crazy attached. And that feeling of attachment feels a little bit like when you've got your arms crossed and you're looking at someone saying, that's not the right way.
Yep.
No, don't do that. Don't go that way, honey.
Yeah.
That's not what the GPS says, right? So we're very closed off. And what happens is that we can't see what's beyond. So I want to invite everyone who's so tightly holding on to reimagine what's possible. And I was that person. This is a practice. Like I've mentioned years, I've been working on this, and I'm constantly practicing everything I talk about with my clients and work on with my clients. It's practice. And this January, as I was revisiting my plans, I realized everything I was doing, every purpose I was serving was tied to money. It was tied to my revenue plan. And you've got to have a revenue plan. Do not throw the revenue plan out. But it is not the end all be all. I thought, that's not why I started my business. Yeah. I started my business because I wanted freedom and I wanted to serve, but I was following the blueprint. You can open your Facebook, open Facebook right now and you'll see any number of ads that are talking about how you're going to get to 5 figures, how you're going to get to 6 figures, how you're going to get more leads, right? There is so much out there pushing us as much as we push ourselves, right? We are the loudest voice to push. And there is so much out there to support us in that. Just like corporate America was feeding my workaholic addiction, today's marketing and today's world will feed our desire for control. You can get a plan for anything, but it is our responsibility as leaders, and it's our opportunity to reimagine what's possible and go back to that feeling that you want, that feeling that you want to share with your clients, and remix it all, because you know something's going to come up, right? You know there's going to be a flat tire. The GPS wasn't updated. Oh, that's not supposed to be here. That's the wrong turn. So this process of living right on time and surrendering prepares you for the inevitable. And that's the plan's not going to always go as planned. We've got to create them. Planning is everything, but planning is useless. Eisenhower.
So we have to pause because there is so much there that we have to unpack all this, because I really think that you're hitting on some very important points that is so incredibly important for my little goldfish brain sometimes to remember and to embrace again. Here's the one thing that I think I heard you say: start small. So if you are looking to build that discipline muscle of surrender, start small. So maybe that means like, hey, I want to get 30 minutes of moving my body into my life today, because I know when I move my body, I feel nourished and better. So maybe it is like, right, I'm just putting my shoes on and I'm going to go take a walk around the neighborhood, regardless of what the weather is or what's going on my schedule. Just doing something small like that surrenders to the possibility of what could come, right?
Yes. and yes, but however, all the things. If you don't make it today, if you don't get your shoes on today, that's okay.
Yeah.
Because you're planting the seed in your thoughts for change that I am going to put on my shoes right on time, eventually. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow. And I will tell you, actually, it's funny that you mentioned exercise as an example, because I'm a big believer in starting small. And I started exercising last year, and I have a goal to get back in the best shape of my life. That's going to look different today than it did when I was actually in the best shape of my life. Yeah. But we're going to go with it. Yeah. And that's my mindset, right? That's the mindset I am embracing. But I was working out too hard, and I had to way scale it back. And today, sometimes all I can do, right? Because my body is talking to me and I am listening, right? I am surrendering. And sometimes all I'm doing is some seated yoga, which is all I got done today. Yep. I rolled around on the floor and that was it, right? Yeah. And sometimes in our business, it's just, I got to get that email out today, and that's it, right? That's one piece of a bigger project. The other thing that's cool that ties this idea of surrender very practically to the beloved to-do list, where we're checking all of those things off, is that, if we say, I want to get on Oprah, right? I want to be on that Super Soul Sunday stage. That is something you could choose to be attached to. Yep. Or you can put that out there. It's in the distance. We're going to get there, right? Don't exactly know how, but I'm going to start taking some steps. What am I going to talk about on Oprah, right? I don't know. So I'm going to work on that first, and I'm going to mull that over. But that's my first step, right? So if you think about to-do list, I don't know what I'm going to talk about, so I'm just going to journal, right? So backing it up to the first possible known step makes it feel right, you're achieving. And when we achieve, it actually releases dopamine, right? There's a chemical reaction in our body that fuels us, gives us happy hormones, and propels us to the next step. And once you have accomplished that first thing, right, we're going to propel and be able to accomplish the next thing. And the path is revealed as we step into action. And part of this overwhelm, I think, comes from having to have the whole plan, map, everything from the jump. How often does it work that way?
Right. It's a myth. I mean, because when you are in business, I've been in business 16 years. I feel like I learn something every single year. So there is a lot of I'm going to take a calculated risk, but I don't actually know what's going to come of this, right?
Lord, all sorts of calculated risks. I love that you called that out, because again, in our world, there's a lot of pressure to go all in, quit your day job. This is the way that it's going to work. Well, maybe, but webinars don't work great for me all the time. Sometimes they do, sometimes I nail it, sometimes I don't. So you take a calculated risk, and you've got, right, you know it's going to work out. You're going to get there. You might pivot, you might adjust. Okay, I'm going to try a challenge instead. I'm going to do podcasting, right? All of these different ways that we can get to that ultimate destination. And again, every step of the way, you're ready to surrender, pivot, adjust, and identify what's most aligned for you, not following in someone else's path.
Right. And I think that's it. I think there's two parts to what you just said there. One is really honing in onto our listening skills, listen to our intuition, that little girl inside us that is speaking. There's, when she is not feeling great and she is shouting at you as an 8-year-old, you got to listen to that voice just as much as you need to listen to that wise, sage woman that's inside you that's whispering and saying, hey, pick up the phone, call Amber, or, whatever it is, send that email, go pitch that person, right? Both of those voices are valid and important to listen to in your intuition. But then I also think there is another element that what you're saying there is, it's not just mindset. It is a balance of a plan and taking daily action towards it.
Yeah. And I think when you combine those things, just like when you listen to that voice that's pushing you, right? She loves you. She wants what's best for you. So she is going to push hard, and you've got to, find it inside the kinder voice, right? I believe in you. You've got this. I know this. And the same way that we've got those contrasting voices, you've got to balance your mindset, your leadership, right? You getting elevation with building the plan and actually stepping into action versus just throwing it all to the wind. I don't know. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And, certainly there are things where I'm like, I don't know. Let's see what happens. But that's not how you move forward and grow your business, right? You have a strategy, you have a vision, you hold that, just not quite so tightly.
Yeah. So let's shift gears here. As small business owners, I think there is a lot of feeling like we have to prove ourselves to the outside world, or maybe even prove ourselves to our partner who may or may not think your business is, air quotes, legitimate. There seems to be a lot of pressure that we put on ourselves, and sometimes to even prove to ourselves, like, is this a hobby or is this a business? So why do you think we work so freaking hard? and how do we instead embrace, as you say on your website, feeling like a millionaire? How do we make that shift?
Yes. Oh, that millionaire feeling, right, is totally within reach before we hit $1 million or I've got $1 million in our bank account. Maybe that's not even what you're working towards, right? I feel like $1 million when my laundry gets done for me. That's very real. But that's me aligning to my values and what's important to me. Yes. For someone else, they'll do laundry, they'll fold laundry all day long. But we've got to come back and align to what it is personally for what is it for you? What's that thing? Because society's got a lot of rules and is going to prescribe us all sorts of things. And we're packing up the shadow bag, as Carl Jung calls it, our entire life. And at some point, we're going to start to have to unpack it, or you will start unpacking it either intentionally or unintentionally. So we get the choice. And I think that if we can make that choice and make that decision to start unpacking those things in advance, we're going to get ahead a lot faster. So shifting into this mindset and adjusting how we show up and how we think and coming back to who we are, our values day in and day out. And it's interesting. I was just talking to the elementary school principal today at my daughter's school. And they're doing something really cool. They're doing a project where the students pick it. So they get to decide who they want to be, what they want to work on, what is their project. Some people are choosing professions. For example, my 4-year-old is exploring being a yoga teacher. She's going to yoga. I need a yoga trainer, Dad. Wow. And my 8-year-old in 2nd grade, oh my gosh, she's never been obsessed with anything in her life, and slime. It is the season of slime. So she is figuring out, how can we make slime in a new and different way? Because here in Africa, we've got some, supply restrictions. And she's going to set up a business next year at the farmer's market to sell slime. And I was talking to the principal and asking him more about this project. And he's like, he was on a call with principals from the United States. And they're saying, because we're an American-based curriculum, they want so badly to change how it is done, to change how society is teaching us to show up, right? Push, do more, get the grade, right? All of the things. It starts so young, as you said. And he said, oh, well, that's exactly what I'm doing. Like, yeah, our kids are picking the project and they're exploring and they're learning these soft skills and how to build project plans and how to work with others and interviewing, et cetera. The list goes on, right? You can imagine. And they were so jealous because they can't do that in the structure that is set up, right? And this is one example. School is one example. Corporate America, business, the Facebook ads we're fed, what we pay attention to, what podcasts we listen to, right? There's so much wrapped around it. So I think that's part of how it happens. And then going back to Jung, we have the job of unpacking it.
Right. And there's so many ideas out there. I think that's what's one of the things of why I love podcasting myself and also listening to some of my go-to podcasts is that, every idea that's thrown out doesn't have to stick, nor should it stick. I mean, it may not be ready for the season of life that you're in, the season of your business. And you get the ability to choose like, okay, I hear what Amber's saying. And like, yeah, I love that because that could really resonate with where I'm at in my business and plan in my life and how I'm juggling things. Or you can listen to something else and go, yeah, that might be your blueprint, but that's not really works in reality in my life right now.
Yes. And that's why I love that safari analogy, because shiny object, there's a cheetah. You're not going to not stop for the cheetah. Like, you're stopping for the cheetah. You're sometimes going to have an idea that you have to stop for. You have to pay attention to and explore, but it might get you right back on the path that you need to be on.
Right.
Or maybe it's a new path, right?
Yeah.
And we're surrender.
Do you know, a funny thing happened a couple of years ago, and I honestly swear to God, Girl Scout honor here, I do not remember how this sign got into my house. But there is a little sign in my bedroom that says, everything is perfect now. And I don't remember buying this. It just magically showed up. Maybe this is a signal from my husband. I don't know. But, you know, that is also true in this moment, because I think, again, to stop that very ego-driven, very human reaction of wanting to compare yourself to others, compare like, oh my God, she looks like she's really rocking it, and I'm still struggling over here in the weeds. When we get back to that simple truth of everything is perfect right now, then I think this comes back to what you're saying of being right on time. Because I think we really, as humans, again, and I dare say as women, we want to know, are we okay? Are we doing enough? Is this okay? And, you know, just giving yourself that grace, I think, is a very powerful gift.
Yeah, I could not agree more. And the way that you're wording it now, it all comes back to what you give yourself.
Yes.
It doesn't come from someone else saying, good job, you're on the right track. Those things are so important to hear sometimes, right? I talk to a coach, a mentor, a colleague. What do you think? Like, I just need get some feedback. Yes, keep doing those things, but that's not the only thing, right? You've got to turn inward. And very practically, when I started this practice so long ago, when I would get in that comparison space, or I get spun out because she's doing what I wanted to do, like, why not me now?
Yes.
The answer is, yeah, you now go. Like, I was the only one that was holding myself back from showing up and putting myself out there. So what I would immediately start to do in those situations is, why not me now? I want to serve people, go serve. So I get in a community, anybody's Facebook group, didn't even have to be my Facebook group, and I just serve for the sake of serving. Yeah. No link to a group, no link to an opt-in, because when you break down, and sometimes, right, I'm saying go in, but sometimes you got to reach out and love people, right? Give people this, you have to show up for someone else, and it resets everything. That's my antidote for envy, comparisonitis.
I love it. Okay, so you have 4 steps, and I'd like for you to break this down. This is the how. How do we stop feeling behind all the time? And you have told me that your belief is that there are 4 steps to really truly asking, and you shall receive. So to be right on time, can you break down what those 4 steps are?
Yes. First up, we've got to surrender and start to detach from the outcome. And if you're thinking like, I know, like, I've heard this before, I believe you, but it's not happening. Just keep breathing into it. Keep breathing into it.
Yeah.
Ask and you shall receive. And be careful what you ask for, right? Because when you set an intention on where you're going and you are working towards getting there, you might set intentions that you didn't intend. For example, when I asked for my lessons in surrender and patience, I maybe should have been a little bit more specific. I left that very, very open. And in that same year, we moved 15 times. And I was like, Uncle, I am done. So be careful what you ask for, right? I want what she's got. Well, do you really want what she's got, right? Come back to what you are looking for. The third thing is, do not use right on time living as an excuse. It doesn't mean you just get to throw it all to the wind. It doesn't mean that you get to stop planning. You still have to take the steps and show up for yourself, for other people, right? But right on time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And lastly, start. Start any nugget, right? The smallest thing that is top of mind right now. Take that and step into it.
So to recap, I think what I'm hearing you say, step one is truly manifest a vision of where you want to head, right? Step two, hold the vision. You know where you are right now and you know where you're going. Everything in between, who knows, right? And
Right.
be okay. Surrender from the need, the control of needing to know every bit along the way. Step three, having that alignment with your vision. So again, not needing to be 100% clear on the exact path ahead. And then step four, creating the plan and taking daily action, like do the thing.
Do the thing. And remember, if today is not the day, right? If today is the day for thought, that works,
Yeah.
right? Today I'm going to journal. Today I'm going to brainstorm. Don't fall back into that cycle when you hear that last step of doing, the do more, be more epidemic,
Yeah.
right? Be strategic about those action steps.
Yeah, and I think the word that I've been gravitating to, because I am certainly a doer, girl. Like, you give me a task list, I will plow through it. The first 14 years of my business was all producing large-scale events. So that's all
Yes.
long lists of to-dos, right?
Oh my gosh, so
I'm
much.
that girl. But I think the word that's really been very powerful for me in the last few years is grace. And grace starts from within. You can't earn somebody's grace. You can't achieve grace. Grace is something you give yourself. And in those moments where you're like, I don't feel like putting those shoes on. I don't feel like going out and moving my body. I just kind of feel like rolling around in the duvet and shutting off the world for a few hours. Then what you simply do as grace, a loving kindness moment to yourself in that moment, is you put your shoes by your bed. Or you put your shoes and your workout clothes out the night before, so you're sort of giving a gift to future Mary and going, here you go, girl. It's going to be easy tomorrow because you've got one step already out the door. And that's the grace that I think is the power. Sometimes we equate grace and feminine. It's like, oh, it's very soft and gentle. It's like, no, there is power in that, girl. And that's how you get there.
I love that you brought the word in power. So much power in all of this. And just imagine, right? That takes me to an emotional place.
Yeah.
You warned me that you might go Katie Couric on me, but you did not warn me you might go Barbara Walters on me and make me cry. But that power, right? If you can shift your being in this way, the power that you have right now to create opportunity for your clients, for your colleagues, for the movement, right? For your children is incredible. So what we're talking about now is changing how a whole generation, how a whole society could potentially move forward if it starts with us. It starts with you right now. It starts with us. It starts with, right, gifting that grace to yourself. And there's so much power in it. All right on time. No pressure to get this right immediately.
Agreed. So when do you think it's better to be open to possibility or to actually keep your blinders on so you aren't distracted on this journey to manifest your vision? Because I think sometimes, again, bright, shiny object. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Oh, I could do this. Like what do you think is better?
Oh, I think that even when you've got your blinders on and you're doing your thing and you're focused and you're in your zone, you still stay open to the possibility because you're working on, right? Just today, I was working on an email thread sequence and I'm like, oh, this is kind of going in a different direction. I'm off plan right now. I'm off-roading, right?
Yeah.
Go with it. Go with it. There might be a gold mine on the other side of that mountain that, right, you're off-roading on. So continue to stay open to the possibility, but watch yourself, right? Like, wait a second. Am I following a cheetah or am I following like gazelle number 700, right? I've seen 700 gazelles. I know where this is going. I'm good. I'm going to move on to the lion. Let's see if I can find the lion. Let's see if I can find the hippos, right? Let's see if I can find that camp. On that particular safari, we were trying to find our camp. We knew we would eventually. Our guide was very worried. He's like, we're lost. I'm like, no. Trust me. I'm like, we trust you. Okay. We're right on time, right? But always stay open to the possibility, but know when you need to put your blinders up because it's another gazelle, right?
I think it's mastering the skill of discernment, and then that's where it comes back to, okay, well, this is strategic then at this point, because it is prioritization of the tasks that are on your plate. What can I delegate and outsource to smarter, faster, brighter, cheaper people than me?
Heck yeah.
Like doing all of those things so you can focus on your highest yielding tasks, so you can really push the needle forward in your business and in your life.
Yeah, and very strategically and a bit tactically, right? When you outsource, you're freeing up your time for your zone of genius. And a quote from, or statistics from Louis Schiff, who did research in the book Business Brilliant. He evaluated the difference between self-made millionaires and billionaires and those people who stay in the middle class. And 9 out of 10 times, people who stay in the middle class are trying to DIY it. Like, I got this. I'm going to do it all. I'm going to see all 700 of those gazelles, right? Even if that's not your highest potential.
Right.
And self-made millionaires and billionaires are outsourcing and sharing the work, sharing the wealth when they think there's someone that could do it better than they can do it. So that's where you've got, right? Yeah, practice discernment. Watch yourself. Does it suck your energy? Do you hate it? Like, I hate laundry and it never gets done, right? Let me share that. Let me share that work so I can focus on something where I can serve more. And I love that, because even if you're not going for self-made millions or billions, right, you'll see growth if you start to shift a little in what you're focusing on, right? You've got to focus on what matters and your zone of genius, how you serve best.
Yes, totally. Please be clear when you are listening to both of us chat here. When we say do the thing, we do not mean do all the things. And as women as well, I think it's so incredibly important to like really hear my words here, is that you are not any less of a woman by asking for help. Whether that is asking for help and, outsourcing to a virtual assistant, or asking for help in your family. Hey, kids, how about you guys bundle the socks tonight? Hey, husband, how about you do the online grocery shop this week? Hey, I need some help. And that is okay.
You know what? How eager, right, are kids when you say, hey, can you help me with the dishes? Hey, can you help me with dinner? Yeah, let me get my hands dirty, messy. Again, open to that possibility of doing things different, especially if you are the one that usually carries all of the load. Coming back to power, there is power in sharing and shifting that dynamic, especially.
Totally. Okay, so I've got to wrap this up, but I do have a couple more questions that I want to ask you on this topic, because I think we would be remiss to not ask this. So all this sounds well and good, Amber. However, what do you do when life throws you a curveball? Divorce, cancer, your house isn't ready in Ethiopia and you need to move 15 times in 1 year. That's crazy, girl. Like, seriously, what do you do then?
Yeah, you breathe into it. And sometimes it's not going to be easy to catch a breath, right? Yeah. If you know someone, as I do, who is way too young right now to be dying of cancer, this doesn't solve all of the world's problems, right? But you can't control that. We know that for sure, right? So when you can't control something, as hard as we try, right, that's when you have to practice. Again, coming back to practice, right? You've got to practice this most.
Yeah, it's hard.
We don't know what's at play. I didn't even know. I was doubting whether we'd end up in Ethiopia at all. I had a vision, right? My husband and I were aligned that was part of our purpose. But were we questioning it? Yeah, big time, right? And am I questioning why my cousin, who's 33, recently married with a young baby, right? Why is this happening this way? I don't know. Right? Clearly, we can't answer those things. I wish I could, but we're going to breathe into it, and we're going to support and love those people who are going through that process. and we're gonna see what happens. We're gonna keep going down that path, even when the scary hippos, they're scary. They kill people, strangely. I thought they were cute and cuddly. Even when the scary hippos, right, are right there next to us.
Yeah. Yeah. I was talking to some girlfriends about this morning, in fact,
Yeah.
and you know what I think I'm learning in my own life with my own scary hippos and, unexpected massive curveballs is that there are three distinct phases and that you can't bypass any of them. You actually need to hold space for them. And this is what I know is true at this stage in my life, is that when the big, scary, massive curveball comes, you have to, stage one, acknowledge it. You can't pretend it's not there. You have to acknowledge it. Stage two, you have to process it. You have to give space, give permission, give grace to really sit with whatever emotions or things that are popping up, whether that is anger, sadness, confusion, stress, whatever. Give yourself space to process it. And then stage three is choose another thought. Like genuinely choose another thought so that you can take action and all that. If you bypass step one and you pretend like it doesn't exist, you're never going to get to stage two and stage three. If you bypass stage two and you don't actually give yourself space to process and you go, well, I'm just going to think positive thoughts and we're just going to move and plow through this. Do you know what happens? You fall right back. You do. It happens. And then stage three, if you don't do stage three, you are stuck in this cycle of chronic pain or sadness or depression or misery or just feeling like you don't have any hope. And so this is what I truly believe, is that there are three distinct stages and phases of healing whatever craziness happens in your life. And it doesn't make it any easier. And also I think pain and suffering are a natural given in life, but it doesn't mean that you have to stay there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you shift. I love your last step in that. You shift that feeling, right? Yes, of course we're sad, but I'm going to pour in love.
Yeah.
And yes, I feel envy and I'm comparing myself to everyone else on the internet or people that are 10 stages before me, but I'm going to show up and I'm going to serve.
Yeah. And that's how you do right on time, right?
That's right on time.
Yeah. So you also talk about, people making more, but working less. What's the first step?
Yeah,
because all that sounds good to me, sign me up, right?
Okay. I love this work. This is really our How to Clone Yourself methodology.
Yeah.
And you've got to know you, right? You've got to lead. You've got to know where you're spending your time. You've got to know your business. What's a priority for your business? Where does your business time go, right? And then you got to get some systems in place. Anytime you go to do something a second time, document that. Document that so you can hand it off someday. For me, I document it so I can come back to it sometimes and I don't have to think through it again. I'm gonna work easier. I'm gonna work faster, more efficiently, right? Just by putting a system in place. That was my quarterly taxes, right? Every quarter I'd be like, what? How the poop do I do these quarterly taxes? And I need to document this. After the third time, use your How to Clone Yourself, McCue.
Yeah.
Third, leverage people. We've talked about this. Build out a team. Leverage family, right? Get the laundry done for yourself. Get house cleaning. Applies in so many different places.
Yeah.
And fourth, transfer ownership. Transfer ownership to the system. Transfer ownership to the team. Transfer ownership to your clients where applicable. You do not carry the weight of the world.
Yeah, nor should you.
Nor should you, because when you do that, someone else doesn't get the opportunity to learn and grow as well. If we're always doing the dishes and the kids never touch them, they're never going to learn how to do dishes.
And think about, more importantly, what kind of children are you raising? What kind of humans are you raising, when they come down the line 20, 30 years from now? So, yeah.
Yeah, it all ties together. And these steps, right? Knowing what your business does, where the time goes, what your values are, right? A lot in that business bubble, vision, right? And your time, feeding into systems, feeding into people, feeding into transferring ownership. This is how you set yourself up to scale, to elevate, to grow without working 10 times harder. And maybe you're not going for millions, right? Every step of the way in our photography business, we started from literally nothing.
Yep.
And I got the breakdowns. I've gone back over the years. Okay, there was $35. We're up to 100, right? Every step of the way, we were using this methodology. So now we're in 6 cities and we are on our way to 1 million. And we've got systems and we've got team. And not only do we have a team of employees and contractors and managers, we have a team of leaders because we've transferred ownership. And that enables me to still have freedom.
Yes.
So I can sit in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.
Yeah. And that's the truth. Yeah. So, Amber, people can find you online at ambermccue.com. I'll put the links in the show notes. Of course, you guys can find all of our show notes with any books or resources that we talked about today on this episode at the simplifierspodcast.com. And where do you like to hang out online? Where can people connect with you on social media, if anywhere at all?
Yes, I'm in all the places, but let's find each other at Instagram. I'm at Amber McCue. Nice and easy.
Perfect. So that's with 2 C's. Again, we'll put the link in the show notes for you guys to click and connect over there with her. So, Amber, a couple of questions I like to ask all of our guests. And again, thank you so much for your time. And I really appreciate this is a refreshing breath of air when it comes to this topic, because I think this is where big change and catalysts happen, is when we start to reshift how we think about our time. And time is fluid. This is quality stuff if you really let it sit and wash over you 100%. Yeah. So what is one book or blog that you're reading these days that's either inspiring you or maybe poking holes and challenging you a bit?
You know, the book I literally just finished reading is by Joe Dispenza. It's called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And it is going to align and support everything that we've been talking about, right? In a totally different plane, in a totally different methodology. But it's an incredibly powerful book. I loved reading that.
Oh my gosh, it is such a great book. Yeah, well worth putting back on the bedroom counter. Yes, we'll put the link in the show notes for that book as well. So tell us, who's one person in your network that you just feel is up to brilliant things? And maybe we can shine a spotlight on them, and who knows, maybe they'll be on the Simplifiers podcast one day.
Yes, absolutely. You know, the person that comes to mind the second you said that, the first name is Melissa Lands. She runs a company called The Fresh 20. It's a meal planning service. And this woman is a friend, a client, a colleague, and she is running a business about meal plans, but it's about so much more. So she's just one to watch. She also does, she's got a strong marketing mind. I tap into that. And I've had some great conversations with her about marketing, meal planning, and how to elevate as we are running game-changing businesses and really changing how society operates.
I love it. Simplifying menu planning, that I'm all in. Sign me up. I definitely want to talk to this girl.
But here's the catch. Only 20 ingredients a week. All the meals for the week, just 20 ingredients. So yes.
Yes, she is my kind of gal. We will definitely be reaching out to her soon. So just a reminder to anybody that's listening, Amber McCue also has this incredible thing called Planathon, and that launches in late October 2019. Can you give us a quick high level of what Planathon actually is?
This is just an amazing event where last fall, more than 15,000 entrepreneurs came together virtually to plan for the year ahead. And it started as just 300 people, and it's grown over the years. And so it is the place to be to get your plan on for 2020.
Brilliant. So this is that part of, not only shifting your mindset, but then starting to put some pieces into place so that you can map out your journey ahead with detachment. With surrender, mind you.
Right on time.
Yeah, right on time. Gratitude and simplicity go hand in hand, in my opinion. Tell me, what's one thing you're grateful for right now in your life?
I am grateful for the freedom and flexibility I have to serve and show up for clients that I love and to spend so much time with my family on adventures and living a completely different life.
Yeah. And I'm grateful for our conversation today, too. I think we've covered
Unreal.
a lot of ground.
My gosh, I'm floored.
So again, people can reach out to Amber on Instagram, Amber McCue, or her website, ambermccue.com. And my last question for you today is this, Amber. Someone somewhere is listening to this episode right now, and she is just at the brink of a meltdown. There's 80 bazillion things. There is no time to go walk outside, Mary. Like, she is really at her wit's end. What's one thing that you could whisper into her ear right now just to encourage her in this moment?
You are love. You are loved. And you know exactly what you're doing. Go and get it.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you.